Well, I was told this place had a rooftop. And it does. So today, let's see, right now it is 9:54, so it's going on 10 o'clock. This is May 3rd, so that makes day 14 here in Thailand. So when I woke up this morning, I'm not sure if you can really see it, but everything is kind of wet. It was raining pretty hard, and I decided I don't have rain gear right now. The last one, the poncho I had from Spain, it just lost its waterproofness, so I tried a different, like a rain suit, but the rain suit was more like a sauna suit, so I was just getting wet on the inside, so I don't really have any rain gear right now. I could throw on a plastic garbage can and just pedal, or just be happy with getting wet, but I decided to go ahead and call the day off. Now it's pretty well not raining. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take advantage of the fact that I'm here in basically a city, and there's bike shops to get those two spokes repaired. So there's one not too far down the road here, and it seems like it does repairs. So I'm going to go in there and get those two done, and maybe I'll give the rest of them a good wiggle to make sure which ones are going to break next, because yeah, I don't want to have them replaced, and I don't know, I'll find out how much it is just to replace them all. Like I said, as long as it doesn't get too expensive. The whole point is it's supposed to be a cheap $100 bicycle. There's no point in rolling down the street on a $100 bicycle with rims that cost me $200 each, you know. So yeah, so low budget is what my aim is. So yeah, I'm gonna do that, and then I still fighting this cold a little. I mean, I'm not bad, but I'm just gonna really do rest time today. And the nice thing about having someone did the math, they're like, you basically just do like 50 kilometers a day and take every other day a day off and still make it in time. And I'll get around to doing the math, but I definitely have a lot more time than I did in Vietnam. Vietnam, I only had 2 months left on my visa when I started, so I've spent the first month motor scootering around the north, you know, up in Hagayong, and I did the Cao Vong loop and all these things on motor scooter before I bought the bicycle and started bicycling. So I only actually had 60 days to complete that, but this is a lot shorter, where I think this is more like 1,500 kilometers, and in Vietnam was more like 2,500. So yeah, so I got plenty of time, and it's much more enjoyable, I notice, because now I don't have to press. I can say, you know what, I'm going to take a day off. So all right, guys, I'm going to go. The bike shop should be opening here at 10:30, so I still got about a half an hour. I'm going to hit 7-Eleven, of course, and maybe get some caffeine. Yeah, I know caffeines are not good for colds, but they're good for my mentality. All right, that's it. Alright, it looks like I'm gonna go to the bicycle shop. It looks like it's a little bit. It's only about 2.7 kilometers. So that's the plan, guys. Just so you know, on the Strava app, I don't start the Strava app unless I'm doing the long distances. Just for commutes around town and stuff, I don't turn on the Strava app. So if it's like less than 10 kilometers, I'm not gonna turn it on. Unless it's part of the route that I'm going to get south. So think this is the one I need to turn left on. I don't know. No, it's not, is it? Might be. Oh yeah, it's not just two now. It's worse than I thought. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 6 broken spokes. So yeah, this is not something I can keep riding on. They're all the old ones. They're just all snapping at once. So this bicycle shop's a little on the outskirts of town. There's a little spot over there I could wait for a while. I don't know, it looks like a little small mall or something. Hopefully they'll get it done. If not, I have to go back in town 2 kilometers and 2 kilometers extra in the opposite direction. So about 4 kilometers the next bicycle shop. Hopefully they'll do it here. Alright, hopefully it'll get done. Well, no luck at that spot. They don't really do repairs. The comments in the comment section on Google Maps said good spot for emergency repairs, but basic repairs maybe, like flats and stuff, but nothing beyond that. He doesn't do spokes. He didn't really look like he had the equipment for it anyway, but although bicycle tools are basic, you know, I mean. So 5 kilometers to the next one. Like I said, I'm 6 spokes. At least that's how many I counted. But there are kind of evenly spaced all the way across the whole rim. And as you can hear, I still got a little of that cold left over in my throat and my lungs. So I'm not trying to push everywhere today, but there's 2 spots that look like they're actual bicycle repair shops. I just want to make sure I do them here before I get out in the middle of the boonies where there's nothing to, you know, where the best I'll get is a guy that repairs scooters. So anyway, yeah. It's 11:29. I'm just getting to the bicycle shop right now. Should be right here. Hopefully they do repairs. Hopefully they're open. Are they not open? Shit. I don't think they're open. says open. I don't know. Maybe that's the... Alright, I'm gonna figure out who's who here. So I think that's where the sign was. This is where the business used to be. I don't know. Says they're open, but obviously they're not, so I have one other option. Like I said, I can't drive around with this the way it is, so I have one more option down this way, and then I'm just gonna, I guess, start looking for people. I don't know. I don't know what I do past that point. So, yeah. All right, guys. Yeah, I guess I got one more option down the street here. Another few kilometers. Okay, I actually found a spot, and for only 600 baht. So, $18, right? And he's gonna replace all of them. And yeah, I don't know if it's the whole rim or whatever, but yeah, look, he's got nice trophies, man. He's an actual real shop. Look at, he's got nice parts too. So I'll put his name down below, guys. If you ever, seems like the only one that actually, I mean, he's a full supply shop, and 600 baht would make it $18, which is not bad. Lots of bicycles. And it's 12 o'clock now. He'll be done by 3, so that's awesome. He even's got a good used section back there. Look at that. Wow, nice bicycle shop. Go. And there's old Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. Crab coon crab. Alright, guys. So I got to 3 o'clock. I don't know. I'm gonna jump on Google Maps, see if there's anything around here. If not, I'll just sit, watch some YouTube, or read a book or something on my read an ebook or something while I wait. So about 3 hours. So yeah, I'm glad I got him. He was the last guy. Like the other spots, one spot he's like, no, you know, it's like he more or less just sold bicycle. The other spot didn't exist at all, and he was actually the last one on the list. And he's got a nice bicycle shop. It's a little ways back here. It's like in the alley and stuff. And a very nice little, look at this. I mean, he's got a nice little spot. So he's off the main road a little bit. See, the main road's up and around that corner. So, all right, guys, I'm just going to explore. And yeah, I'm just going to explore. I'll come back later. So something I noticed on day 27 in on Cheap Bicycle Vietnam, that one also had a partial block on it from YouTube because of music playing in the background. So those are one of those things that are really hard to avoid, because if you're just walking down the street like where I was, and the music's coming out of a karaoke bar or any type of bar like that, you don't really have control over that. Especially it's only playing for like 3 seconds in the background. Yet I can't have that on my video, but other people can critique the videos and have the whole the whole video, and they can critique it, which doesn't make sense that I'm doing any type of copyright infringement. That no, Listen, I'm not an expert in law and stuff, but this gives me a chance to go ahead and dispute the issue. I'm just being honest as possible. I put in that, excuse my voice, I put in because it's being played in a public space. I'm not sure if they're going to reject that. And it's only like 2 seconds long anyway. It's the song Own It. And like I said, it was on, if you guys want to go look it up, it's day 26 or 27 in Vietnam when I'm walking the streets. So I'm going to, just for my learning process, I'm going to dispute it. The owner of the song has 30 days to check out my claim. There's no claim against,
don't respond to my claim, it gets dropped, and it's not a strike. It's just a partial block. So I'm trying to get the partial block removed. This is more or less just for me to learn, you know. So if this incident, which will happen again, am I in the right to actually dispute it, you know? So I'll find out. I'll keep you guys updated on what the decision is. That way we all know, you know? Because it doesn't make sense that if I'm walking down the street, I'm recording something, some car goes by blasting some song, and now I have to delete that part of my video. To me, it doesn't make sense. Because right now, there are emblems everywhere on this street that are copyrighted, that I do not have the permission from the owners of the company to post on YouTube. Like I said in one of my last videos, Saturday Night Live, excuse me, Saturday Night Live ran into that with Chase. They did a whole sketch with the Chase emblems in the back. And Chase says, I don't like that. Take out our emblems, so they had to go back through with computer animation and change the emblems to something different. And yeah, either that or throw away the whole sketch. So they digitally altered everything. Anyway, I'm gonna get off. I'm coughing in my camera. All right, guys. Mr. DIY. It's a good spot to hide from the sun. I still got a little ways. While it's like 1:40. I got an hour and 20 minutes, so burn up some time in here. The shades are down, but it's 3 o'clock. I'm coming to pick up my, well, that's because the sun's pointing right at him. So pick up my bicycle. And hello. You want me to come around? Come under? Hi. Ah, okay, good. All right. Cool. All right. Yes, nice. Oh, you got them all too. You replaced them all. Yes, that's really worth it. Nice. So, all right. Thank you. Hang on.
สายผมอะอยู่สิลุงว่าลุงโม่ยังโทรหาผมอยู่เลย
600?
โอเค
Okay.
Thank you
You
very
mind? You mind a picture?
เอ๊ะ
Okay. So the only good bicycle shop in town.
ไปเช็คแล้ว
All right, awesome.
โมโลไอโฟนชนิดแมคคานิก
Yeah, you're great. Thank you so much. So it is so nice to actually have all of them replaced instead of just the ones that were breaking. So that's awesome. So everything was $18. He's a professional mechanic, you know what I'm saying? I have no doubt that he probably retrued it and laced them right and everything. So, you know, where the last one probably just stuck it in, cinched it down. Anyway, yeah, that was the whole plan for the day, guys. I'm actually only a little like 4 kilometers from my hostel, and as you can tell my voice, I still got a little bit of that cold lingering around. So I'm gonna head back and just kind of relax, guys. I'll throw this together and throw it out there. I'm not sure how long it is, but like I said, sometimes we'll be boring on this, sometimes we'll be exciting, who knows. One thing, it'll always be honest, right? All right, guys. Well, I'm not sure how long I'll sit up here with the sun and all, but the day's over. Let me balance that. The day's over for now. I feel like just taking a shower, and it's only 3:25, but it's a good time to start editing. And take a nice cold shower and do some editing and stuff like that. That way I can get out and hit the road tomorrow. I'm glad it rained this morning, because that rain made me decide to stay in and not go out traveling, because having 6 broken spokes, or more, I mean, and it's nice, he replaced them all, I'm super stoked about him replacing them all. Now I don't have to worry about whichever ones that weren't replaced snapping and whatever. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and just call it the day, guys. And although the sun's still up, I'll just say good night, y'all. And yeah, we'll pick this up when I'm feeling better tomorrow, and we'll hit the road again. All right, guys. Hey, before I go, I feel like I should throw in like a little small story or something. At least this gives me an opportunity, since not much has gone on today, maybe to let you guys know a little more about me or something like that. No real advice, just maybe a little sprinkle of advice in there somewhere. But remember, never take advice from a homeless person. Not financial or life advice. Everything else is okay. Like, what time is it? You can listen to that from a homeless person. You might hear me once in a while talk about construction work or something. I know I've mentioned that my choice of a job when I was young was to go towards the casinos and stuff like that. Like I said, there's a big story of why I chose that as an outlet, and it partially has to do with my kind of anti-establishment skateboarding type attitude when I was younger. I didn't want to join a normal job, and the work world, like the hard work labor, I could see from my father being in construction. And that's where the story begins, because I grew up on a construction site with my dad. I'm the second child that was born. My sister, 2 years older than me, was the first. And when I was the second child, my mom kind of went through a postpartum depression type thing. She didn't know how to divide the love up between 2 kids. And my father saw that I was being ignored a lot. So he took it on himself to start, he's like, well, it's my boy then, So he started, even when I was still in diapers, taking me out to the job site. He was he was the general contractor and he had his own crew and stuff like this. That's how he worked his way up by this time. He started as a laborer like everybody else, but so he started taking me out to the job site when I was in my diapers, and there was always someone in his crew watching me. Now I'd be up on the roof, and people would freak out. They'd be like, "There's a baby on the roof," And my dad would say, chill out, don't worry, there's always someone watching them, right? And so as I got older, you become the gopher. Hey, go grab me this, go grab me that, until you start learning the tools and stuff. And I still don't know the proper name of all the tools, because we would call like an angle grinder a peanut grinder, because of the rebar that you're cutting. You end up with little peanuts afterwards. It looked like, little pieces of rebar looks like peanuts. So it was always the peanut grinder. And we called all wireless drills Makitas. We just call them, hey, grab the Makita, and Makita's like a name brand. It's, so I grew up with that slang.
So sometimes I don't actually know the actual rule with the. It took me a while to find out. Oh, that's an angle grinder. Oof, I will always call them peanut grinders. But so I grew up as a daddy's boy, you might say, like, and it was just because my dad, he was like, well, it's like if you're gonna just pay attention to that one over there, I'll bring this one with me, and. Listen, I love my mom. I'm not trying to say anything about it. It's just, she fully admits it too, though. She's like, I just didn't know how to divide my love. That's all it was, But, so when I grew up, I'm the gopher and all this, and by the age of, I think I was pushing a hot mop somewhere around the age of 11, 12 years old, meaning my dad started showing me how to do the hot mop. That's back in the days when the roofs were flat. And you'd get like a big old tar kettle up there, and you crank up that tar kettle to almost blowing heat, because the hotter it was, the faster it would go back and forth, because once that tar started cooling down, it was like, trying to mop the deck. So I was my dad was a hot mopper for a long time, and. But then, roofs stopped being flat. The older ones, yeah, but it's just like it wasn't really a job to move on to. But my dad was also a general contractor, so I built houses with him from the ground up, from everything from masonry work and stuff like this. And concrete slabs we didn't really like too much, because you need several people. You need good floaters and stuff like this, the people that are doing the, making it nice and flat and stuff, and most of the masonry work people are professional in the masonry business, and we just let that, you subdivide out certain things, but we did a lot of the framing, the roofing, and all this stuff. And the only thing we really didn't do is the electrical. So I pretty well, like, I didn't string electrical, but plumbing and everything else is something I've done, and I grew up in it. And so I also saw the hard times that my father faced, because during, like, in California and stuff, during the summers, it's work, work, work. We had the good money and stuff like this, but the winter comes around, no one does work, right? My dad's out hustling his own jobs and stuff like this, sometimes without a license, I think. I don't know what the story of that was. I think eventually his contractor's license expired, but you keep it going through the union and stuff like this, but and a lot of the work we did was under the table. So it's like that's back in the days you could do that. It's like if it was just an addition, you didn't need all the paperwork. An addition, you can pretty well just build an addition, but once that addition gets too big, like we got caught in Arizona, the guy's like, this is not an addition. He goes, this thing's like 3 times as big as the house is, I'm like, and that's when you need the inspectors to come in and stuff like that, and make sure that you're doing everything by, up to code and all this stuff. But I got to see my father struggle during the winters, and during the winters we would cut firewood and stuff like this, and actually we had a lot of, I remember him trying to convince people that manzanita was a good wood to burn. It is, it really is. It's got oils in it that it'll light when it's wet, and it burns hot. Trust me, I think I cracked a Benjamin Franklin stove, like, in Colfax. That was my outdoor stove in this, like, tree pea I made. It was the tree that went up like this, and I ran ropes down from the tip, and then I covered it with one big tarp and stuff, and it was basically, the tree was the center of the tree pea, the tree pea, and I had a Benjamin Franklin stove in there, and I think the outside cold with the very hot manzanita wood burning on the inside cracked it. So I think the temperature difference just went but yeah, so that's one of the reasons I decided to veer away. Now, construction is an awesome job because it's a skill set. It's not a mindless job. It's something that you learn, and now you have that skills. So anybody that's younger, I would say if you're trying to build up a nest so you can go out traveling or something, then do a job that's going to be beneficial to you. And construction's one of those. Laborers are always needed. So if you see a construction site, go up to the construction site, just walk up and say, hey, do you need any laborers? And you might be working the next day. You might be working that day, you know, it's just, but these are skill sets that you can use later, because there is bushcrafting and survival. That's the low end, you know, that's where everybody starts, you know, that's like, those are on the move type skills that you get. But once you start settling down, now you're going into like the woodsman style, you know, you go into homesteading, and homesteading is a lot of construction, and these are all very beneficial to you. So if you're going to work a job and build up a bird's nest so you can travel and all this stuff, go get something that you're going to actually build up a skill set for. And now, would you want to do it for the rest of your life? I don't know. If you like construction work, go ahead. You know what I mean? But it's a blue collared job. You know, you know, you're not gonna get rich at it unless you have your own company, construction company. But I just decided to veer away from it because I saw the struggles that my dad and our family went through, and my dad worked hard. He hustled hard, you know. He went door to door trying to get work, you know. And I love him, and I love the skill set that he's taught me, and it's something I can always carry with me. So when it comes to like that little teeny house, you know, I was going to have them come in and put up the tough shed by itself, but then everything else I could do myself. You know, I could do the drywall, I could do the insulation, I could pour the pad for them to come set it on and stuff. I could actually put it together myself if I needed to, but if they're going to do it for me, why not? So yeah, so I outside of the casinos and way before the casinos, I grew up on a construction site with my father, and I worked almost all my younger childhood up to early teens and stuff with my father, and even later. You know, once in a while he says, "Hey, I'm going to do a job, but I want you to work it with me. I'm not going to take it if you don't work with me," you know. So yeah, it was always, you know, out of the blue we'd get a job and get extra cash, and it's always nice working under the table or something like that. So now you guys know a little bit more about me. I just figured I'd throw that in there right at the end, just so now you know. So all right, guys, now I'm being serious. I'm turning this off, and I'm going to say goodnight, y'all. All right. Bye. Peace.